Hey everybody, Gary with Basecamp Trading. Take a look at the ES futures today because as probably most of you know already, the ES futures were ripping lower today. This is our 30-minute chart, and as you know, this is my anchor chart. And we already had some hints coming into the market open that the ES might break to the downside. You can see during the London session, we had a shooting star triggered to the downside. 5 and the 13 crossed to the downside. And then we just kind of chopped along the 50 EMA here as we often do. And again, we know the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA are significant support and resistance zones. But you can see we came down here and we poked under it once, twice, a third time, fourth time, fifth time, and then on the sixth time, we actually triggered another shooting star and a bear flag. For what it's worth, this is not a very good bear flag setup right here. It's really more of a consolidation setup. But we had a really bearish bar, left this topping tail, closed in either shooting star, gravestone, doji, whatever you want to call this bar, set up the bear flag. Again, not a great bear flag, but a breakout of compression to the downside. This bar triggered it to the downside, got a little push, and then we had the market open. And of course, as is often the case in the market open, we had a little whipsaw action because, you know, we have the first 30 minutes or so clearing when the market opens. And that set this up as a potential reversal doji. If this bar happened to trigger back in the other direction, could have triggered that as a reversal doji back to the upside. Ended up just triggering it as a continuation doji to the downside. And then from there, it was just bombs away. Came down to 200 EMA, bounced, of course. Again, we know 200 EMA sticking point, left a little bottoming tail, came up here. Next bar opened right there, poked above it just a little bit, and then just continued again, bombs away. And this was a very, very nice push to the downside in the ES. Got significantly undervalued, went into consolidation, as is often the case. Set up the bear flag, another one triggered to the downside. Not quite as big a push. We went into the lunch hour session, consolidated, chopped sideways a little bit, set up another bear flag, triggered to the downside, took us down into the lows of the day. We ended up bouncing, had a pretty decent rally there at the end of the day, but we needed a rally. I mean, this was a gigantic move to the downside, over 140 points in the ES. It's been several months since we had a 140-point day in the ES. So a nice short trading day in the ES as that baby was just ripping lower. This is what it looks like on our Unirenko chart. This was kind of our main setup. We had, you know, the aggressive trade was actually back in here where we triggered that first bear flag. But if you wanted to play it a little conservative, I know a lot of people don't trade the market until it actually opens for the New York session. But that's okay. We had a really nice setup when that happened. This part of the chart right here, this is where the market opened. And we got that little bit of up and down movement. And we went into some consolidation, put in a little mini double bottom, and then right there is where we triggered that continuation doji to the downside, broke out a compression. So you could either take in the wick off the 34 with a fast line zero touch as we were triggering the continuation doji, or if you wanted to wait for the break of the double bottom, either way, pretty decent entry in whichever one you decide. If you decided to wait on the double bottom, that puts you in right around 35.51. Our target was 35.19 and a half, and that was pretty much just a straight drop. I mean, no heat at all to speak of. Trender Pro just had you in this trade, a couple little small wicks, but for the most part, this just kept running and running and running and running and running and running. At this point, we're getting very extended. We're significantly undervalued on our 30-minute chart. Our target was 35.19 and a half. Actually had my take profit at 35.20. Grabbed 31 points or $1,550 per contract on this push down. Then, of course, you know, we went into some consolidation, pushed down again, pushed real low. I mean, the ES was just bearish today. Tanked, went into consolidation through the lunch period. Little rally. They were selling all the rallies. Every time the ES went up, they just pushed it right back down. Up, pushed it back down. And then we had a nice drop. Pushed it back up, sold it off again, chopped around. We're still in the lunch hour here. Pushed it up, sold it off, and then another pretty decent push to the downside. Our ultimate target was 34.29. Actually went under that a little bit. I quit trading at 34.29. The actual low was 34.24.5. Again, my target was 34.29, so I quit trading at that point. And then, of course, we had the rally at the end of the day. But again, ES is just ripping lower today, and we were able to take advantage of at least some of it.